So we continue our game with Botvinnik building a strong attack on the king side. Capablanca tries and stop the attack by playing f5. But okay, obviously, if Botvinnik doesn't take, he's just down a pawn. So he has to open the position. All his pieces are ready on the E and F files to overwhelm black. And he's plays f5 right away, trying to demolish black's kingside protection, and going all in. Capablanca has to try and relieve the pressure, and he does this by playing rook takes e1. Botvinnik recaptures, and rook e8, trying to get another rook off the board. And this is so nicely done by Botvinnik. He does it by the book. Okay, he doesn't mindlessly exchange rooks. He plays rook e6 here, and this is how it should be done. It's so remarkably simple, and yet I was kind of amazed. I was kind of surprised by this move, and it's completely. This is it. I mean, you know it's going downhill from here. Okay, but Capablanca might not be afraid of defending. Okay, he's an endgame expert. He's still up a pawn, and it's only one passed pawn, and he has some pieces left to block it. So he exchanges and gives white the distant passed pawn. Plays king g7. He has to protect the knight, and now Botvinnik gets the time to penetrate the position along the black squares in black's camp, and there's not much white can do about it. I mean, most of his important pawns are in light squares, so his position is kind of transparent in the black squares. So queen f4, queen e8, queen e5, and queen e7. And this is the position I gave to my panel, and I said, well, this is the second position from the same game. How are you going to continue? Yes, are you going to find a move? And first I'm going to... no. So I showed it to the first player, and he said, well, I think bishop a3 is a good move. So, yeah, quite a remarkable move to spot, I think. He said bishop a3, the queen will take. Let's see. The queen will take, and then queen c7 check, king h6, and e7, and the pawn is very difficult to stop. But okay, my first note here would be that, yes, I mean, you're down a piece, and black can always sacrifice the knight on f6 back. So I'm a little bit tempted to say that white is losing completely here. Mainly because black will play queen c1 check, and yes, it will. The black queenside pawns will. There will be no white queenside pawns left. So he definitely wasn't thinking in the right direction here. I mean, definitely the check on c7 was completely unnecessary. The queen was much better placed on e5, I think. Myself, I was even more blind. Because I said, well, let's check knight h5 check. And I watched this position. I said, okay, let's play knight h5 check. So for one reason or another, he doesn't want to. Yeah, okay. So, and then queen g5 check. Queen g5 check. But it doesn't lead to anything. I mean, I can grab, I somehow will grab a pawn, or I don't know, but I can't seem to find a way. I can play bishop h3. Yeah, I didn't see it. I really couldn't find, couldn't make it work for white here. So I was actually, because I thought knight h5 check was not winning, wasn't working, I was quite convinced that yes, Capablanca was winning here. I thought, yeah, Capablanca will just play a5, a4, maybe b5, b4. I mean, he has a passed pawn there, and what are you going to do about it? I mean, he's a pawn up, and he has white's extra pawn firmly blocked, and there's just no tactics. So what's going on here? I mean, he cannot even activate the bishop via c1 because the knight is guarding. I was really convinced Capablanca was doing really well here. Okay, but how wrong was I? Our female 1900 player considered bishop a3 as well, but she discarded it because of the following variation. So bishop a3, queen takes, queen here, so e7, e7, king f7, and then she said, well, queen takes f6 check, king takes f6, e8, queen. But she said, well, now you have queen c1 check, and that's good because she looked a little bit further and she noticed that all pawns come off, and yes, I mean, white will be down. Well, white will be down 4 pawns actually, so this is definitely not a good idea. She had an alternative with knight e2, I think. Yes, knight e2, and then she calculated king f8 because she said the pin is, yes, the pin is, he has to get out of the pin. I don't think that's true, but if you play bishop a3 then everything seems to work. And okay, the position she reaches here is very similar to the tactic which was played, but I think king f8 is just not forced. So that's the main problem there. Our 2000 player did his homework and he said, well, I did study some chess and I recognize this position. It's I don't have to think, it's quite easy. I'm not going to tell you the solution now, but he saw a mating sequence. He said, no thinking, just this is the mating sequence. Not completely, but he said what the first 2 or 3 moves were. And then our strongest player suggested 2 candidate moves, being, he said, I don't have time to calculate, but I would consider bishop a3 and knight h5 check. I would think that knight h5 check is the move, followed by bishop a3. And if the queen then takes, yes, then I play, so if a queen takes here, then I play queen g5 check, king f8, queen takes f6 check, and this must be winning. It's the queen is not to be stopped. And he's also, just like our female player, he's very close to predicting the right outcome, but he missed a little nuance. And okay, I don't blame him because the exercise was not calculated correctly. He just looked 5 minutes, a couple of minutes at this position. So, but the problem is after bishop a3 is that the queen is not forced to take. So Capablanca can play queen e8, and if I can trust my friend Houdini, black is completely winning, because he's not going to win the knight. If you play queen g5 check here, then black simply plays queen g6. So you have to be careful. You have to calculate. Only bishop a3 is really convincing. And what is really striking me is that if you put this position in the computer, this one, that even Houdini doesn't find a move. I used Houdini 1.5, and okay, I must say it doesn't find it immediately. It takes, I think the position changed after something like 1 or 2 minutes, that he suddenly realized that bishop a3 was winning. He saw bishop a3, but suddenly the score of the positions changed from drawish, being 0 point, to plus 10, completely winning. But okay, Botvinnik did spot the full combination, and I'm now going to show it to you. So bishop a3, queen takes a3, knight h5 check, sacrificing a second piece but regaining it. Queen g5 check, king f8, queen takes f6 check, king g8, and now e7. And note note first of all here that queen f7 check. This was what I first thought, that this is not mate. The queen is guarding this square. Be very careful. Don't make the mistake in the end. But okay, these are world-class players. They don't. Yes, he must have calculated really well, because you must calculate queen c1 check. You have the forcing move, and how? I mean, it's a queen and it's very close to your king, and how are you going to get out? I mean, you also must be careful that it cannot... yeah, okay, white is threatening mate, so it's both threatening mate and threatening to promote. It's difficult to prevent both, so the only thing Capablanca can do is try and go for... keep on checking. Draw by repetition. But apparently Botvinnik got it all figured out. King g3, queen d3 check. Well, you see king h4, queen e4 check. King takes h5. You see the king running, but it's without fear. He's just saying, hey, yeah, you can't catch me. Queen e2 check. King h4 again. Queen e4 check. Capablanca says, well, I did this before, but now g4. And yes, there's not too many checks left. You have one at e1 and now king h5. And the king is completely safe. Can you believe it? And Capablanca resigned because he cannot defend against queen f8 mate. So yeah, what else is there? There's nothing to do. You can. There's h6, but it will be mating anyway. There will be queen g6, for example. And it will be mating, don't worry. So that was it. I think it was quite interesting to compare thought processes of the different players to see, to see what was really remarkable for me is that the weaker players, including myself, did see part of the ideas, but the stronger players had a much more complete view, and it was, they could attribute more functionality to every move. So the weaker players tended to see single purpose moves, while the stronger players really looked at the position with and attributed many purposes to every move, and that's actually probably how we should play chess, and how strong players play chess. They play moves with multiple intentions, and at a given stage of time, as a weaker player, you are not capable of stopping every possible threat that they generate, because they generate so many, and we generate only one at a time, most of the time. So and that's how it I think it very often how very often the stronger player will beat the weaker player. Okay, this is it. I created some new positions for the following lecture. I hope you somehow enjoyed this. See you all next time. Bye.